Hello everyone and welcome to WWE SmackDown. You are joining myself, Tom Colohue, as SmackDown warms up and gets started right there on my TV just to the side of us. We will be watching from beginning to end, and just before we get started, let's talk about what's going to happen tonight. Tonight is the beginning of the end for Roman Reigns and his good old-fashioned bloodline, which naturally is going to be causing some fractures. Jey Uso walked out, Sami Zayn turned his back, and Roman will be desperately clawing to regain control, particularly with Cody Rhodes looming on the horizon, the Royal Rumble winner. Roman's focus will not be on Cody. Kevin Owens may still be involved in this one. There is a lot likely to happen. We also will have Charlotte Flair defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Sonya Deville, a match that was originally pitched for the Royal Rumble, but Triple H likes his pay-per-views short, so it didn't end up happening. And plenty more to come, including more in the Tag Team Championship tournament. Imperium will face Braun Strowman and Ricochet for the right to face the Usos purely for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. But is it going to be the Usos? Because after all, Jey didn't just walk out on Roman, Jey walked out on Jimmy too. Crazy stuff is happening, and it's real hard to work out exactly where we are headed. So as SmackDown gets started, please remember to hit the like button. We have 13 people in, only the 5 likes so far, and let's get started for SmackDown. SmackDown is starting, as you might expect, with no music, interestingly. There's the music. With a clear focus on what happened on the Royal Rumble. We are getting the highlights from the decision made by Sami Zayn to stab Roman in the back. I talked for a little while over the last few days about what I expected to see, and I didn't see Roman turning on Sami. It was about Sami who would break. The story is not about Roman and Sami, even though they seem like they're going to be going up against each other for the Elimination Chamber. This is about Jey Uso and Sami and the nature of brotherhood, and whether or not Roman is actually deserving of it. Roman may well go into the match against Cody Rhodes alone. He is not ready for this. We have plenty of people in chat already. Justin check. Christoph says, welcome back, Tom. Welcome back, Christoph. Justin says, really worried they drop tagging with Liv. I still think we're going to see a tag team for Liv Morgan going into WrestleMania against Damage Control, and of course Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey as well. Ed says, hey everyone, looking forward to the next 26 hours with SmackDown and Vengeance Day, and I will be watching Vengeance Day tomorrow with a friend and a few drinks. Jeffrey Giordano says, WWE Jimmy Uso. Jimmy will have a lot to say tonight, I'm sure. He, after all, is probably the most betrayed of everyone here. Jamal says, Tom, is it true that higher-ups don't see Sami as a main eventer? Been seeing it all over Twitter. I would definitely say that Sami doesn't see himself as a main eventer. What I will say is that at this point in time, Sami Zayn is not going to be winning the main championship. That said, I think the efforts that he's made has certainly endeared him heavily to backstage, and I am very confident that a championship run will be in his future. Christoph is really looking forward to seeing what's happening seeing what happens. The Bloodline story is gold. It is, and it is delivered. The Bloodline have arrived. Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, and Roman Reigns. That is all at this point. Ed, you're absolutely right. Sami did say it with Ariel Helwani. He doesn't see himself as a main eventer. For me, that's very telling. Kayla Braxton tried and failed to get comment from Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman naturally has found a moment for her. And so you should. Heavy no comment. Naturally, the discussion point, as I mentioned, is Jey Uso. Sami Zayn is an afterthought. Jey Uso has a mission ahead of him. He has an important choice. Hey Harry, how you doing, mate? Jey Uso's choice is very, very simple. Do you try and convince Jimmy to leave? Or do you walk away from Jimmy as well? I'm going to tweet that one. Most telling tonight will be whether or not Jey tries to take Jimmy with him out of the bloodline. Sami Zayn is an afterthought for Roman. That will bite him in the ass hard. Never turn your back on a Zayn. Never turn your back on a Zayn. There's an energy tonight. And they immediately start by touting their advertising. Standard. James Kemple says WWE needs to come to Australia. They are planning to do so. They are putting together the concepts at the moment for the continentalization. Fox tonight, I'm guessing in the main event segment, Roman Reigns will address the state of the Bloodline. I do think it's very possible he goes into WrestleMania completely alone. Braun Strowman is opening the show. It means we're going to start with Braun and Ricochet versus Imperium. This is to determine challengers for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, but we don't even know if we have champions at the moment. Harry said, do you think Jey turns against Roman? It's hard to say at this point in time. I suspect Jey will have his crisis, but ultimately side with Roman again going into WrestleMania, purely for the Tag Team Championship match that I'm expecting at WrestleMania. That said, I still think Roman versus Jey will have another flight in the near future. Please remember to hit like as you join the chat. We currently have 21 viewers and only the 8 likes. Every one of those little thumbs up does make a massive difference and really helps the growth of the channel. Whenever a show like a WWE video finishes, when someone stops watching it, it is down to the likes, the chat rate and the engagement, whether or not YouTube automatically sends them our way or not. So please do remember. We're getting a replay, that's the word I was looking for. We're getting a replay of Ricochet's big moment at the Royal Rumble, that of course being Logan Paul whacking him in the chest with his chest. It was very chesty. Harry says, hope Ricochet and Braun wins because they are a good team. I definitely think that's going to be the plan. Imperium make very good foils, but logically, Braun Strowman and Ricochet are the right choice. And whoever they compete against, and I suspect it will be the Usos one way or another, I think Ricochet is basically guaranteed to be the one taking the pin. He's already perfectly positioned to take the loss. Peter says, hey Tom, I'm here in the wings waiting for the call. All right, Peter. You a flyer. They are also giving us a recap of Gunther's time in the Royal Rumble, which is absolutely correct. Just a list of highlights for him, including a very, very dangerous move for New Day. Now, I've reached out and I've asked some questions. Drew McIntyre was supposed to be eliminated at that point by Gunther. Sheamus, not so much. Gunther, of course, not involved in this match, but this will be his sole appearance. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus were going to be in this spot, but the decision was made to have McIntyre and Sheamus against the Viking Raiders instead. Andy Barr says, hello Tom, any NXT Europe news? William Regal has just started preparations. He is scouting as we speak. He is, of course, at SmackDown tonight. He is working out who will be going over from who they already have and who they need to add in order to make it happen. There will be, from what I can tell, a couple of people from the main roster who are looking at making the move, but it won't be potentially big names. It'll be people at the level of Apollo Crews, Dana Brooke, and the like. Harry says, any news about WWE Hall of Fame yet? Still nothing, which is very confusing. They did have names ready, but it sounds like they're starting to make some changes based on very recent news. Gunther has stayed at ringside, not something he did previously. Clever play to attack Strowman, but Strowman manages to get out of it. It's very clear how this tag team's going to work. Braun Strowman is going to be the monster. Ricochet is going to build to the hot tags. Very standard New Age Outlaw stuff. So I says, hi Tom and all. I'm awake at 1 a.m. with a fistful of painkillers, a litre of ice cream, on me and you guys for some fine company. Happy SmackDown. Happy SmackDown to you, Si. Are you okay? Do you need anything, mate? If you do, just say the word. Simon says Liv is not on SmackDown tonight. Well, she's going to be in the Elimination Chamber. She had a great showing at the Royal Rumble. Maybe, just maybe, it's not the worst thing in the world. Christoph says, none of my friends wanted to believe when I was saying WrestleMania will be the downfall of the Bloodline. It seems now more likely than ever. Justin says, Fightful has said Alexa's contract runs out April 2024. True. Fightful are usually pretty reliable when it comes to contracts. They track that very carefully. At some point, I hope to set my own website up and staff it with hopefully as many of you fine people as possible, and we'll be able to track that better, but at the moment I simply don't have time. There is a number of different options available for Alexa Bliss, and I'm not entirely sure that she would choose to re-sign. I think we'd really miss out on that, but she's not exactly at the moment pushing for championships. Simon says the Liv squad on Twitter is pissed about it, which again, very confusing considering her Royal Rumble performance. Andrew Quinn, we don't do that here. We don't do that here, just to be clear. Sai says, all okay, just got my biggest and most painful tattoo. Arm is still vibrating. Well, that's a good answer. That's a very good response to that. Very good response. We have our first commercial break. Gunter regrouping Imperium on the outside to take out Braun and try and control the room a little better. We are right now live on both YouTube and on Twitch. I am, by the way, just as a heads up, considering going back to the StreamYard concept, which would be very similar, considering I use overlays now. It would be very similar to previous, but it would cost a little different. So I'm thinking about that, which would make it easier to host guests and the like, and basically show off size graphics. It might be higher quality though, because it's browser based. Brendan says, wonder if Rhea will appear tonight. I know that we're going to see something with Dominic and Rey. I don't know if Rhea's particularly involved in that. The video has already been released on social media. I've just not really been checking as religiously as maybe I should be. Welcome, Brendan. How you doing, mate? Usually the first match on SmackDown will last for quite a while. They've been going for about half an hour recently, and honestly, I'm very, very happy with that. Gives us plenty to sink our teeth into. That said, I don't necessarily think Braun Strowman's a half an hour wrestling match sort of guy. He'll be spending most of it stood on the sidelines, probably for about 10 minutes, waiting to get tagged in. But he has sort of launched himself into it with both feet as we start here. Gotta respect it. Gotta respect it. Harry says, any news about Bray showing up tonight? Yeah, Bray Wyatt is expected to be there tonight, just to basically recap everything that's already been going on. There is another step coming with Uncle Howdy. I don't know if it's this week, but it will be coming soon. It is just further evolution of the character before we get to the point of the overall Bo Dallasing of the whole thing. Justin says, I'd rather Alexa go try to act in Hollywood than be with Bray anyway. Hopefully that's what she does next. This, by the way, is one of the main reasons she's been able to convince Triple H and the creative team to basically let her decide who her character is going to be. She wants to be with Bray. She wants a darker character. And with her contract, by the sounds of it, starting to come to a close, it's only logical that they give her basically whatever she wants in order to keep her. Alexa is very valuable to the WWE. I don't think enough people really recognize how valuable we're talking here, but I'm sure they will if ever the moment comes when she decides not to return to the company. I don't think that day is coming, just to be clear. I don't necessarily think that day is coming, but when it does, it's gonna hit hard. Real hard. There's a number of people at the moment in the WWE whose contracts aren't necessarily the longest. Hopefully, for most of them, they will last long enough that we don't really have to worry about, for example, Vince trying to budget cut them. You know, if you've got enough time, you're not really going to worry about it, are you? But I'm worried about it. I'm very worried about it. Harry says, any news about Edge since he returned at the Royal Rumble? Edge was also on Monday Night Raw, Harry. He went on the attack against Finn Balor, and that is likely where we're headed for WrestleMania. Though I do feel... Okay, this is not what I was expecting. Braun Strowman is the one taking the punishment, and it looks like Ricochet's been built as a hot tag. I feel I should point out one more time, this is a very different Braun Strowman than what we saw previously. He's a lot more vulnerable and a lot more believable because of that. But yes, for Edge, I would expect we're going to see him against Finn Balor at WrestleMania. Meanwhile, Rhea Ripley versus Beth Phoenix seems like it's on the way, but it's hard to say when it's on the way. I would love it to be an Elimination Chamber match. I'd absolutely love that, and that would really suit me personally. I think we'd get a great wrestling match out of it, and I think it would really help Rhea be built up towards Charlotte, because there is still a bit of a distance between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte, despite everything that's happened previous. For me, there's also the possibility that Beth Phoenix could be the first challenger for the SmackDown Women's Championship, should it be won by Charlotte. Ricochet has tagged in, Braun Strowman rolling to the outside. Again, very different Braun. Jedi Knight with his Jedi mind trick says, hi from New York. I like your accent. Germany? Nope, I am from the UK, the United Kingdom. So I'm not allowed to claim to be from Germany because there was a vote and I lost. Christoph says, Alexa has already said her goal for 2023 was to be in a movie. To be honest, I think she would do great in Hollywood, but I'll be sad if she quit wrestling. The reason she's starting to say things like that is to leverage the WWE to try and make it easier for her. If the WWE can give her movies and give her the character she's looking for, I don't see a reason why she'd want to leave. But also, to be completely honest, I see a limited date contract coming, especially with the amount of times airports have lost her luggage. Peter says, wish SmackDown would do picture-in-picture like Raw at breaks. They did for a little while, way back when. They did for a little while. Sean Cena, how you doing, mate? Says, hello again, Tom. Hello again, Sean. How you doing? Megan is here as well, giving us a little wave. Welcome, Megan. How you doing? And Sean says, Ashanti Adonis versus Madcap Moss was a dark match before the show. The last time we really saw Madcap Moss, it was the mixed tag match against Karrion Kross and Scarlett. We've seen Emma since in the Women's Rumble, but not necessarily much from Madcap. That's not something I'm really going to comment on, Sean. She has her own ambitions, and I'll leave it there. Simon says, I don't get why Liv hasn't been on SmackDown for 3 weeks, though. Strange booking of your Royal Rumble runner-up. Is it because absence makes the heart grow fonder, and my God, you're fond? Sometimes that's all it is. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Ricochet is stepping up to Gunter. Gunter, of course, won the championship from Ricochet. I think Gunter's about to be ejected. Oh, the crowd are really into that one. I would imagine Gunter is having a bit of a rest at the moment. Like, he's popping up, he's clearly there, but he's not really getting too involved physically. This seems like it'll be the end of his involvement in the show for the week. Braun is walking him off. But that is in many ways he's abandoning Ricochet to do so. Imperium have the opportunity to double team and have taken it. Oh, Ricochet just got destroyed. I think that's it. That is it. That is not it. Okay. I got sold there, guys. I got sold on that one. Carmelina says, do you think that Jey will interrupt Roman during his promo, or we won't see him again until next week? It's hard to say. We don't have a lot of time to build to Elimination Chamber, so I think they're going to have to smash through it pretty quickly, to be honest. So I'd probably have Jey involved pretty much immediately. Ideally, though, if they had time for it to breathe, I wouldn't have Jey show up this week. I'd have Roman call him out and say, we need to talk in the main event segment, and I just wouldn't have Jey there. I'd have Sami Zayn come out instead and say, Roman, we got beef. Megan says, good, thank you. Glad to be awake to watch the show. Been feeling a bit drained lately. I completely understand. The Raw watch-along really kicked me hard in the energy levels. Royal Rumble naturally staying up till 5:30. But, Megan, how's your setup for your streaming going? Because I know you were looking at a new schedule for it. Hopefully you're able to keep the energy levels high and we can have some nice chill streams in the future. Hector says, Tom, I know you previously suggested that you'd like to see Gunter versus Drew at Mania. So a rumour floating around Twitter that there's going to be a triple threat and Sheamus will be added could steal the show. To be clear, I have reported previously that it's going to be Gunter versus Drew McIntyre. When the report came out about it being Brock versus Gunter, I did say I don't see that. To my knowledge, it's still going to be Drew versus Gunter. And yes, I've definitely seen that rumour. My video on Wednesday did point out that rumour and state that it seems like Sheamus may well be added. I would absolutely make that choice. Get Sheamus on the card, give him the opportunity to win the championship he's never won, but don't let him do it. For me, he ultimately would still be taking the pin. Also, yeah, Hector, that is one of 3 matches that the WWE creative team are looking at as potential 5-star matches. The idea of Gunther versus McIntyre versus Sheamus as one of them. The Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens as the second one. And Becky versus Bayley as the third. Note that I'm not mentioning the main event there. Harry says, any news about Shinsuke Nakamura? Yes, at the moment he is still a SmackDown talent, though I do believe in the draft he and Rick Boogs will be reunited. I've not seen the trailer yet, Sean. I'm interested though, certainly. And Simon says, do you think Liv and Raquel could both be ringside watching the Fatal 4-Way women's match, or maybe a promo from both? Bear with 1 second. I find it unlikely. After all, you're the one saying she won't be on the show, and now you're saying will she be on the show? Megan says, I have a couple of streams this week which I think went well. Looking to build back up, looking forward to doing a birthday stream this month too. Well, you'll have to let me know when I can pop in. Justin says, bold prediction here, but I think Becky versus Bayley will be for a mid-card women's title. Well, if that's happening, if there is going to be a mid-card women's title, and we've spoken about this before, there's plenty of people in creative who want it to happen, you couldn't really wish for a better option. We're getting an NXT Vengeance Day commercial. There's going to be cages, there's going to be breaking, there's going to be walls. It's going to be amazing. Christoph says Seth versus Logan could be an awesome match as well. They're not expecting 5-star, but I definitely think that could be a pleasant surprise. Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn was incredibly fun last year. Incredibly fun. And Seth and Logan Paul, they can both go. Logan Paul is very impressive in this field. I don't feel he really stands out in a 20-25 minute match when he's got no big celebrity stuff going on as well. He did very well in the Royal Rumble, but they protected him. They knew what he could do. They know what he was good at. They gave him 2 or 3 big spots, and that was it. So I'm interested. Seth can certainly steer him to something great. Megan says birthday is February 24th. Probably doing stuff all week for it. Good, good. I do always make sure that come the birthday, you should always do a birthday stream. Always. I mean, I do birthday streams, and in fact, holiday streams as well, and they're just great fun. Everyone really gets into it. Imperium getting frustrated. Giovanni Vinci not sure how to put Ricochet down here. Justin says, do you feel like we will get more NXT call-ups after Mania since Triple H is in charge? The reason we haven't seen call-ups so far is just because he's brought so many people back. They brought a lot of people back and it's filled up the rosters. If people are going, there'll be more call-ups, but I think the draft will be where we really find out what's happening next. Harry says, hope Ron Breakker wins at NXT Vengeance Day. I don't necessarily think Waller's the guy. A lot of people are really excited about Carmelo Hayes being the one, and, well, there's only one way to get there. Sai says they have a lot to get through in a short time. Square off Sammy versus Roman, figure out where Jey fits in, whether Owens is still in the picture, and how to fit in Cody. The latter needs to be done right. My suspicion is that Cody will not be involved until it's already been squared off with Sammy and until things have been sorted one way or another with Jey. Blue says, I like the idea of a mid-card women's title, but how do you introduce only one? If the title is on big shows, doesn't that make it potentially a bigger title than the 2 women's world titles? Yes, it does. If there was going to be a mid-card championship, what I would do is 2 mid-card championships and then combine the top championships. So we have 1 women's champion and 2 mid-card champions. So a SmackDown women's champion, a Raw women's champion, and a women's world champion. That's how I would personally say otherwise on that one. We really can't. Sean says, why I asked if the wrestling blog is reliable is because they put out a list of wrestlers with no Mania plans. Johnny, Candice, Alexa, Shotzi, Elias, Dolph, Raquel, and Ronda. Well, Ronda Rousey definitely has WrestleMania plans, mate. The rest of them, I agree. But Ronda Rousey, she got plans. Ronda Rousey is doing the Alexa Bliss in Team Little Big. Nearly did not get the right rotation there. He nearly landed straight on his head. But that is a win for essentially Team Little Big Mark II, Braun Strowman and Ricochet. They will face the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, or will they? Because the Usos seem a little bit fractured at the moment. And not necessarily fractured but whole. Braun Strowman and Ricochet will face the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Or will they? Given that Roman Reigns and his bloodline are fractured and broken. Best way to describe it, I feel. Christoph, it's going to be next week apparently. Christoph says, any update on Riddle coming back? No update at this point in time. They are taking their time with him. They don't really know what to do next. There are no plans to my knowledge for Matt Riddle going into WrestleMania outside of a Battle Royal. Traffic says, good evening Tom and chat. Have I missed anything good? Catching the tail end of that match looked pretty decent. Basically so far, it's just been the match. We briefly saw Roman, but it's mostly just Royal Rumble recaps and hype for the Bloodline tonight. We are about to talk Rhea Ripley on Progressive Match Flow. James says, Strowman sounded like Ryback. Finish it. Well, to be fair, they build their guys in the same way. Sean says, will it be Jimmy and Solo defending the titles since Jey walked out? That's the thing. Potentially, they could try and make it that. But if Jey then says, no, but I'm defending them with this person, let's just throw a name out, Baron Corbin. Just a random name off that's there. Let's say they're doing that instead. What right does Jey have over Jimmy? What right does Jimmy have over Jey? We're getting a Royal Rumble recap. We will see some love for Liv Morgan here, I'm sure. You'll notice who they really focus on. And it's that final three. Liv, Rhea, and Asuka. All three of them have matches planned for WrestleMania. Blue says, love your idea of how to handle the mid-card titles. Thank you, Blue. I appreciate that. It was a really great finish, I feel, to the Women's Rumble. Just enough going on that you're really not sure, and three very good people in the final three. Very good choices. Okay, so they've just said about Rhea Ripley setting the record for the longest time in the Rumble, the Women's Rumble. She shared it with Liv. So let's get something on that. I would imagine our draw segment will be the Charlotte Flair match. Oh, bit of Tony Storm on our TV screen there. Quite a few people aren't with the company anymore, let's be fair. James said they could say that Sami and Jey would retain it like last time. Might be a way to work it. I'm not entirely sure Sami and Jey are actually on good terms here. I don't think they're necessarily enemies, but I don't think they're necessarily friends either. Traffic says both Rumble finishes were top tier. Agreed. The actual full-scale wrestling match that broke out in the men's was also a lot of fun. We currently have 34 people watching and only the 18 likes. If you are in the stream at the moment, please remember to hit that thumbs up. Every thumbs up makes a massive difference to the growth of the channel and really does guarantee that we continue to maintain our high standards here, reporting the news, having watch parties, and just having a great time. So please remember to hit that thumbs up. Mixed reception to Charlotte as she appears on our TV screens. She's going to be asked about Rhea Ripley, but she still has to deal with Sonya Deville. Charlotte Flair, of course, is a face now, so she has to act like she's into it. Simon says, where's Pat McAfee tonight, Tom? Pat McAfee's return was not full-time. It was not a full-time. It was a appearance, and they are talking to him about, obviously, a lot more, but at the moment, they've not made any commitments. Harry says, any news about Big E returning soon? Soon is unlikely. Still plenty of recovery to go, but he's doing a lot better, doing well, and starting to make appearances that fit his contractual obligations. It will not be Sonya Deville versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Like, I'd love it if it was, but Sonya Deville will not get that opportunity. Blue says, I really like the finish for both Rumbles, but the uniqueness of the women's finish really put it over the top for me. The fact that all three were on the apron, then you had the blue mist, there was a lot going on. And honestly, that really did it for me. Up next, the Clash at the Coliseum. So we'll return from the commercial break and see what Rey Mysterio got up to. We are, of course, building to Dominic versus Rey, as first reported here on the Tom Colohue channel, potentially for the end of Rey Mysterio's career. Sean says, what I find strange about the reports about Nia is if she didn't sign and it was a one-off, why did they release merchandise for her? Very good question. Very good question indeed. I certainly wouldn't trust it. Simon says, Sasha Banks / Mercedes money in the Bullet Club. Pretty cool. Too sweet, Tom. I did mention that earlier. And I do think that will be a way that they could really make headlines. And I do think that would be ideal for who she is and what she's about to become. You know, there's a lot going on, but that seems to be an absolute no-brainer for New Japan. We've already hit 229 views, guys. We're absolutely nailing this one. I just want to say a quick thank you as well. We did, in fact, hit a very good number. A very good number earlier today. 2,100. So 2,100 subscribers. And at this point, of course, counting. We also hit our target for January, which keeps us on track. For our target of 5,000 by the end of the year. Of course, at this point, we go again. And we're aiming to see, well, whatever we can do in February as well. Can we keep it up? I'm not sure, because obviously it's Rumble season, it's Mania season. We'll do what we can. But I still think it's possible. I still think it's possible that we can get to 5,000 by the end of the year. And if not, why not? A little self-belief goes a long way. And I've got to say, it's not just self-belief, because I've got you guys. I've got you guys guaranteeing busy chats, busy channels, a lot to talk about. Honestly, sometimes that's all I need. These watch parties in particular, they thrive based on what you're saying. If I was in here with two people and nobody was speaking, I don't think I could do a watch party. When Ed first talked me into it, I was terrified that there was going to be no one here. So what's the point, you know? But that doesn't happen. It does not happen. There are plenty of you. And afterwards I see how many chat messages there are, and there's hundreds of them. Hundreds. It's fantastic. What can I say? I'm a happy boy. Ghost says, hello again, Tom and chat. I hope everyone is doing well. Yes, thank you, Ghost. Hope you're doing well as well. It's great to see you so often. It's absolutely fantastic. Sai says, I find it strange they would release merch for Nia Jax at all. Also fair. Simon says, Mike Johnson of Peter Insider first reported Nia's return was a one-time thing. And to be fair, Mike Johnson of Peter Insider was the only one to report Nia Jax's return. So certainly established some credibility there. Traffic said, does Mercedes joining the Bullet Club make sense? I'm not too familiar with it besides a few hours of highlights I've seen on YouTube. So what I'm saying on this one, Traffic, is that the Bullet Club is a concept that is ideally positioned to break America. And New Japan have been trying to break America, as it were, for a while now. The original plan for Kenny Omega's championship run was to claim America, really get some international eyes on the product. Then, of course, they created the United States Championship. And at the moment, it's Will Ospreay, who's the global one, as it were. The one who brings eyes of America and so on, and all that potential income with it. They've positioned themselves at Elimination Chamber, or should I say Battle of the Valley, to basically ensure that once the Elimination Chamber finishes, as a wrestling fan, you go, and there's Sasha Banks on your TV. And that should be all it takes. Should be all it takes. So you'll get that American audience. But you're going to have to find a way to make it stand out. I think she's winning the championship, I think she's joining the Bullet Club, and I think she's going heel from the off. Simon says, do you think Jey White would still be the leader and Sasha a co-leader of the group? Sasha Banks would not be the leader of Bullet Club. Not be a leader of any way, shape or form. She'd be a member of Bullet Club. I'm saying she'd be joining the Bullet Club. I'm not saying she'd be leading it. And you definitely need to get it out of your head that might happen. Thank you, Carmelina. I appreciate that. Lovely to say. We are talking NASCAR, about which I know absolutely diddly squat. Absolutely nothing on this one. This, of course, is good old-fashioned commercialism. Judgment Day are backing someone. I'm guessing that's a driver who just stands there and shakes his head. What is Finn wearing on his head? What is he wearing? Ross Chastain, whose lines so far have been, yeah. Most of this, by the way, was ad-libbed. They had a couple of different takes on it, but I'm confused by this because ultimately your son's asking you to go go-karting. Just play. Okay, so NASCAR is the answer. Sean says, all NASCAR is, Tom, is a bunch of driving at like 200 miles an hour in a circle for a certain number of laps. Oh. Fair enough. They're trying to use the NASCAR drivers as best they can. One of them is doing all right. The other one not so much. Chastain's not really gelling with what they're going for. They put way too much production value into this. I'm interested to see if they actually did the driving, because I don't think they will have done. Traffic says, it's going to work for me. Like you just said, after Chamber is over, I personally will be watching New Japan for the first time live. I, of course, as a New Japan member, a New Japan World member, have the option to switch over myself. So I may do that. That could be fun. Harry says, any news about any returns happening soon? Nope. Usually with the big returns, I've reported them way ahead of time, like the AOP one. And we wait and see what happens. I don't like to report on the day because that's just ruining the fun for me. Peter says, NASCAR, the literal way of driving around in circles. Hey, people like what people like. This is animation. They're literally doing animations now rather than just looking at them drive. This is not good. Oh. This is to advertise a NASCAR video game, isn't it? This is to advertise a NASCAR video game. This is baffling. Simon says, the Golden Lovers reunited in AEW. Ibushi and Omega on a storyline together again. Did that happen, or is that what you think is going to happen? Sean says, there's New Day. Indeed it is. There to represent Rey Mysterio for some reason. Good guys are all friends. Ghost says, I'm just happy this last semester isn't that bad. I could actually be here more often than before. What exactly is on my television right now? There's definitely video game elements. Dominic and Rey are looking to scrap. We know that they're building to a WrestleMania match. This isn't exactly as I. So it says, any truth that the sponsored match at Mania is a spoiler warning match with tables, cherry coke branding, and a troll on a pole. To be fair, Si, if anyone knows about the designs that I'm going to put together for spoiler warning, it's you, because you put the designs together for spoiler warning. The look of spoiler warning, essentially, Si, is you. You created it. And then I just rep the colours in my onesie. Charlotte versus Sonya Deville up after the commercial break. This should last into the draw segment. Should last into the draw segment at the end of the first hour. So far, not a bad show. The NASCAR thing was a bit annoying. But ultimately we're building towards Rey versus Dominic, so I'm not going to complain about that. We're getting a recap of Becky versus Bayley, hyping up the cage match for Raw. If anyone does want more news on that one, I did report some news earlier on spoiler warning about the plans for Becky versus Bayley. So I said I've never understood the NASCAR wrestling crossover. They've been trying it for decades. I think the idea is that NASCAR is just an American institution, and so is wrestling, so all American institutions should just combine. And that, to be fair, is why they keep doing the crossover between WWE and the Supreme Court. Megan says, let me guess, the NASCAR thing is sponsoring the Elimination Chamber. There's a lot of different things sponsoring Elimination Chamber, if I'm honest. Like, a lot. Unnecessary amounts of stuff, to be honest. And, yeah, that's a thing. Sorry guys, not sure what's going on with the stream at the moment. It seems like it's a YouTube issue rather than a Twitch issue. Hopefully we're kicking through it. On the Twitch side, there's been absolutely no problems. So I'm not sure what's happening there, but thank you very much for updating me. Yeah, traffic says F. Harry says, why did WWE not advertise 2K23 on SmackDown? I'm sure they will. SmackDown, after all, is only a third of the way through so far. Simon says, who do you think booked the women's tag team division and women's division better, Tom? Triple H or Vince? I don't think either of them have done particularly well with it, but at least when Damage Control first came in, the tag division was hot. So I'm going to go with Triple H. Stick around, guys. Not sure what's happening here, but stick around. It does look like we're having a few spotty moments here when it comes to the connection. There we go. It's starting to sweep through. And I think we're pushing through on it. It's not the same error that we've been receiving previously. I'm guessing this is just weather and internet related, even though my internet hasn't dropped out at any point. But it does look localized to the YouTube side at the moment. Stick around. We will continue the show. So, Blue says, what's your favourite chamber match, Tom? There's been some good ones, to be fair. I haven't been around for too many of them, for the Shawn Michaels heyday, the Goldberg moments that we had. What I will say as regards my favourite chamber is the one where Bray Wyatt became the WWE champion. So the one featuring John Cena, Bray Wyatt, AJ Styles, Jon Moxley, or Dean Ambrose as he was at the time, Baron Corbin and The Miz. For me, that was everything we needed in a show, and I very, very much enjoyed the match. Simon says, Nick Khan says the WWE will even have sponsors on the ring posts at the quarterly conference call yesterday. He did say that, and that is very much the plan. They are looking for more ways to monetize. After all, this is what they mean by strategic alternatives. They're trying to make even more money, because that's the only way to do things, apparently. Joey says, let me guess we're getting a NASCAR match next. We're not, but I'm sure we'll get a NASCAR tournament on Up, Up, Down, Down. Simon says, would Sasha Mercedes be the only member of Bullet Club with title gold if she joins? Not that I know of, but I can't remember who each and every individual member of Bullet Club is. Like, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. I'm really not used to Sasha Banks. Not Sasha. I am really not used to Charlotte Flair's new music. I'm really not. Had to take a moment there, and I've double checked the stream. Everything seems to be working now. I'm going to close that one. That may be putting some strain on it. Hopefully everything continues to work from here. I do like that Charlotte's robe is the exact same colour as the SmackDown Women's Championship. It gels together really well. She's obviously treated amazingly. She's Charlotte Flair. That's what happens. Coming into this draw segment, I obviously can't imagine a loss, but I do think we'll get a conclusive finish and at least a 15-minute match here. Admittedly, we won't see some of that because of a commercial break, but I think we'll get at least 15 minutes of wrestling here. I mean, we may actually get Sonya Deville finally having a bit of a chance to show up and show out a little bit. She hasn't had that opportunity for a while. So hopefully, fingers crossed, everything gels together nicely in that regard. Good response from the crowd here. Not a surprise considering where we are. It's Charlotte country, as Sonya Deville said earlier. This new version of Charlotte hasn't really settled in for me yet. I don't know what to expect from her. They've gone dark with the lighting, trying to make this a big deal. Of course, making it a bigger deal would have been putting the main event, but Roman Reigns exists. And as long as Roman Reigns exists, I can't see them really making the choice to bump him from the main event. Please let me know if there are further errors. The stream health is apparently poor, which is not great. That said, on the Twitch side, it's absolutely fantastic, and there's no issues to my knowledge, apart from the fact that there's no audio whatsoever. Swings and roundabouts, you do what you can. You do what you can. You try and survive, basically, let's be fair. Joey says, I bet the fans will turn on Charlotte once a feud with Rhea starts. Rhea's very much a cool heel, which makes things difficult for someone like Charlotte, because if it's fun to boo someone, they'll boo them. But if it's fun to cheer someone when they should be booed, that's even more fun. Sean says, Sonya looks amazing as always. She does. I always like the black and white ensemble. Always like that. And Harry says, hope Charlotte does a figure 4 leg lock tonight. Why is that? Are you just a particular fan of the style, Harry? Of the lock? Do you just like figure 4s? Oh, sorry. Do you just like figure 8s? Let me get that right. Oh, Peter says I have a new job. Placing the tape on Sonya's eyebrow. All I can say is that it's raised summer eyebrows. Here all week, folks. Here all week. The tape is a choice. It stands out, and to be fair, that's all they really want. They just want to be memorable. And in that, they're doing extremely well. We currently have 48 viewers and only the 31 likes. Please do remember, once you join the chat, hit that thumbs up. It makes a massive difference to the growth of the channel. Really boosts the number of people who will be here to check and watch. And if you're looking to watch SmackDown more regularly, be sure to subscribe, because we do SmackDown watch parties every single week, and I'd love it if you could be here for every single one of them. We're currently on 2,104 subscribers. Every little does help. Blue says, considering the nature of Mania crowds, no matter the story, Rhea will be the face on the night. She will, and I have absolutely no idea with that. No problem is what I was going for. I have absolutely no problem with that. A crossbody from Charlotte Flair. She's pulling from the Facebook here. Not the Facebook, different thing. She's pulling from the babyface playbook. You'll remember a number of wrestlers, this includes people like Alexa Bliss, even people like Carmella, have completely different movesets between face and heel. Carmella, for example, suicide dive, you only saw when she was a face. The only time you saw it. We have a commercial break in the middle of the match. I maintain we're going to get a 15-minute here. I don't think we're going to get a Matt Classic, because that's not what they do on live TV. But I still think we're going to get a quality match. It'll be an opportunity for Sonya to at least get some heat behind her. That said, with Rhea Ripley clearly in play, I don't necessarily think anyone else is going to get a look in for the next 2 months. Charlotte Flair's right there and available for a beating. Rhea's going to take that opportunity. You know she is. You know she is. Ooh. Megan says, Roman has a new shirt and it's pretty good in my opinion. Okay. They do tend to land everything. Everything when it comes to Roman. Whether it's merch or whether it's anything, they never whiff with Roman. They understand the assignment with Roman and other platitudes and ultimately really weird sayings that nobody truly understands, but still say. Doesn't make sense, but still. Traffic says the shirt is amazing, to be honest. High praise. High praise. Zay says, who do you think is winning the Super Bowl? I know none of the teams involved. I don't really follow American football. I get very confused when it gets mentioned. American sports basically just wrestling for me. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first. Probably the only place you'll hear it, let's be fair. And there's a reason for that. It's garbage. It's called a guess, essentially. I don't even know if there is a team called the Cowboys, but I know the Bears, or the Chicago Bears. I think they're the Bears. Were they Bulls? I don't know. But I know their basketball because I watched New Girl and Nick Miller likes the Bears or the Bulls. He likes one of them. Peter Englefield says, I know who wins the Super Bowl. It's an American team. Stunned. Do Canadian teams not get involved? Needs to be an option. Simon says, Nunez says he struggled to adapt to the Premier League, finds it difficult to settle with Liverpool. Yeah, that's not a surprise to anyone. The Premier League's tough. Sai says, the Cowboys are my team. You couldn't be more wrong. Well, at least I said something that actually exists. Dallas Cowboys. Right, got it. Traffic says, best shirt of all time though, and I'm biased here because I got it at my first ever WWE event, was a Latino Heat Scarface shirt. I remember it well. Sean says, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles are playing in the Super Bowl. To my knowledge, Philadelphia Eagles have previous with this. So let's go with the Philadelphia Eagles. After all, I'd like another It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode based around it, because that one was fun. That was fun. Zay says, Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns? I'm a Roman guy. I like Drew, but ultimately I don't think he sells as effectively as he could do. Harry says, you'll be watching the rugby tomorrow? Nope. I have other plans tomorrow. They do involve a football match, but no rugby, unfortunately for rugby fans. Pete says, they have their own version in Canada. Is it not the same place? Ooh, the stream is finally excellent connection again. Always good news. Simon says it's the Philadelphia Eagles vs Kansas City, February 12th. Oh, okay. I might actually watch it. I remember trying to watch some of it last year, but only actually watching the first half because it was late and I wanted to go to bed. Hello, Conrad. How are you doing? Hello, Conrad. So I hope things are well. Things are going really well, thank you, Conrad. I've been trying to organise a raid onto your show. I was looking for it last week, but unfortunately I literally finished 2 minutes before you went live. But keep an eye out, it will happen eventually. Christoph says, Charlotte babyface really doesn't connect to me. Why, Hunter? Why? Told you, she's a Triple H of the division now. That's what she is. Simon says, my first WWE t-shirt when I was just 3 years old, British Bulldog. My first film, Mr. Nanny, with Hulk Hogan. I remember that. It sucked. Peter says, don't tell Canadians that. It's all North America. I thought it was a North American league. I stand corrected. Conrad says, appreciate that. No worries, man. I mean, I've been on your show before. I've been on your channel, and I do feel that we should all be working together on this one, and the fact that there's now a raid system is a really good thing and something we should definitely all be taking advantage of. We absolutely should. At least for me personally, I think that's absolutely what we should be doing. Sean says there is a Chicago Bears, it's an American football team, and the Chicago Bulls are the basketball team out of Chicago. Thank you for clarification. Ah, yes, of course. Seth Rollins, definitely. They're trying to make the crowd think that Sonya has a chance here. She doesn't. We all know she doesn't. But they're trying, bless them. She's showing up. Absolutely she is. Hey, Sean, how you doing, mate? Simon says, have you seen Sami Zayn's new t-shirt with KO tape on it? No, I don't believe that's real. I don't believe that one's real. What I do expect is the Sami Uso with the tape over the Uso and Zayn on it instead. That one's real. Everything said, does YouTube have raids now, or are you talking Twitch? I'm talking YouTube. YouTube has raids now. So when you're live, if you're in the live studio, you can edit, go to customization, and you can redirect your stream to another YouTube stream. They have raids now. Twitch be dying, mate. Twitch be dying. Twitch is in trouble. Oh, well, thank you very much for joining us, Sean. I hope you enjoy it. How are you enjoying SmackDown so far? Tell me more. Sonya was going for the figure 8, which was not very smart. That looked like a free to me, but they made it work. Traffic says YouTube Raid is so big for smaller creators. It absolutely will. I tested it with Steve from SCW Wrestling, and it's one of those where we took about 30 people over. Quite a lot of them subscribed. Many of you will have subscribed to his channel. I don't know if you will have stuck around. I don't know if you will have been there regularly since, but that doesn't really matter, does it? You gave him a chance. We were able to show you what Steve does and see if you were interested in it, and that's what matters. We did it similarly with Astrid, and yeah, I know a lot of wrestling content creators who could really benefit from having an audience just sort of pop up and see what they're all about. Even if you're not a fan, you stick around for a couple of minutes. It's not for you. You move on, but you stick around for a couple of minutes. If you hit like as well, you see the channel grow. And an engaged chat, as you know from YouTube, as I keep saying, when it comes to like the likes and stuff, which by the way, remember to hit like, it basically ensures that other people will find it because YouTube will advertise even further. So it can be really helpful. Yeah, Conrad says, I learned something today. Yeah, it's definitely something that I'm looking to work more with. Sonya's about to tap. Taps out to the figure 8 slowly as well, which she looks like she's in even more pain, which is good. It's a good sell. It's a very good sell. But yeah, what I'm looking to do is build sort of a mini network of regular streamers. So, for example, at the end of Spoiler Warning on Friday, it's 11 o'clock my time, roughly. If there was someone who came online around that time that I could then raid, and then they could raid me back for the watch party, or even if they raided someone else. The idea is that you could come on at 5 o'clock your time, watch Spoiler Warning, then you're redirected to another wrestling show, then you're redirected to another wrestling show, then a watch party, then a post show. You always have options. Always. And don't get me wrong, there's every possibility that you'll find somewhere you actually like even more. And that works for me. The whole point is that you guys have a great time, after all. So, Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville didn't quite make it to the draw segment of, 2 o'clock my time. Instead, we have a Cody Rhodes recap there instead. Christoph says, my favourite chamber match, hard to tell since I've seen them all. Maybe 2019 when Bayley and Sasha became the first ever women's tag champs. Very emotional. I did very much enjoy that particular Elimination Chamber match. Every one of the teams really delivered there. It was a coming out party for Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville as well. Really made an impact. Really did impress. Simon says, Seth's been shooting on Logan Paul on his Insta story just a little while ago. He says he doesn't like him at all. Stick to collecting Pokemon cards. That is the match that's currently planned for WrestleMania. They are beginning to kayfabe it. Sean is very interested to see where the Bloodline Sami Zayn story goes. It does look an interesting one. Jey Uso is certainly going to be called out by Roman tonight in the main event segment, but there's been no mention of Sami Zayn so far, which tells me he's there and he's going to be involved. Kevin Owens as well, I suspect we'll see more of, because if we're going to get to the Tag Team Championship match at WrestleMania, we're going to need Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to forgive each other and just sort of kiss and make up. Traffic says, I'd recommend to anyone, even if you're not going to stick around for a raid, at least keep the stream tab open while you search for something else to watch, which I very much appreciate. At the end of the show, I usually stick stick an ad on, and even if you don't watch all of it, that's a bit more revenue for me. So if you can stick around for 5 seconds, I get quite a bit. I'll look at the raid options. I don't know if anyone's live right now. I'd imagine most people who are live are doing watch parties. In fact, let's find out. Let's find out. So I go into edit, go into customization, I scroll down to where it says redirect and then add, and I have choices. I can make my own videos live. Apparently I have multiple live streams right now. Surprised by that. Or I can search videos from other channels where it says no live or upcoming content from your subscriptions. So if I'm subscribed to someone and they're live, they will pop up in that box. I know I've really gone into it, and hopefully, I know a lot of content creators watch my shows. Hopefully it's been helpful to some people. I'm also going to double check if I am actually live on 2 separate streams. I shouldn't be. I'm not. Sometimes if there's a crash it sort of forces me sideways, but not this time. Roman is backstage with Jey Uso, trying to find out what's going on. Sean says, I think Charlotte will get hated if she beats Rhea at WrestleMania. I don't disagree with you. Thankfully, I don't see it happening. Roman is clearly picking sides here, making it very difficult for Jimmy. Jimmy looks conflicted to me. Solo, not so much. But Solo's never going to be conflicted. That's not his shtick. Roman does not trust Jey Uso. I don't think Jimmy's particularly happy with the situation either. The Bloodline is in serious trouble. Simon says, Seth also said Logan Paul is not welcome in the locker room. Jake Paul will got knocked out versus Huey Fury in his boxing match soon. Standard stuff. Conrad says, very helpful. Thank you, Conrad. Hopefully it's something that you yourself can use. It's a great way to make connections after all. Great way to do it. Bellum Camp says, I missed the first hour, went to high school basketball game tonight where they taught gym class for 30 years. Name the gym after him. Sorry, who are you referring to there, Mellencamp? Also, welcome. How you doing? Solo and Jimmy have left the room to go and try and find Jey. Roman looks paranoid. It's not often we see paranoia from Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns seems paranoid. Brawling Brutes, better known as Fight Night, are on their way down for a tag match. Not sure who they're taking on, but I'm looking forward to it. Maybe the Viking Raiders destroy them and they have to be rescued by Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. That would make sense. Turns out the draw segment then was... it is in fact Brawling Brutes versus Viking Raiders. Not a surprise really, let's be fair. Not a surprise in the end. So the draw segment ended up being a Cody Rhodes segment and a Roman Reigns backstage segment. WWE knows who its stars are. Sean says, I think they'll play off that Jey isn't part of the Bloodline for weeks, while Zayn gets a title shot at Elimination Chamber and Jey will help Roman win to set up Zayn Owens versus the Usos at Mania. I agree with that. That's basically what I expect as well. Though I feel if they had a bit longer, they could play a bit of a bigger game and we could really start to tease it. I don't necessarily think they have enough time to stretch it out. And of course, after Elimination Chamber, Roman leaves Sami Zayn in the rearview mirror, at which point Jey Uso has to take care of business himself. Jey and Jimmy versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, at that point, makes perfect sense. But Sami and a Money in the Bank run, that for me could also really work out. Luvins wants Charlotte to go to AEW. I don't think that's going to happen. She is where she is happiest, and if anything, other people are coming back to her. Harry says, do you think Paul Heyman will go to manage Brock Lesnar soon again? I do not. I think he'll stick with Roman for a little while longer. And we'll see plenty more of him over the coming days. Conrad says, Bloodline bringing the Mafia angle So much fun. They have done for a while. Roman as a mafia boss has been absolutely magnificent. I've really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I don't think it's going to last much longer, but that's a good thing for me. That's a good thing. Because the NWO, as an example, really outlived its interest levels. People did not care by the end of the NWO, and I can't blame anyone for that. I really can't. Harry says, any news about Tyson Fury coming back to WWE? Tyson Fury is likely to be back at Money in the Bank. So in a few more months, just yet, they are talking about bringing Tyson Fury to Money in the Bank, primarily because it's in the UK. Leuven says Charlotte would be like the star to catapult them. Same with Mercedes. Says Solo doesn't say much because he's still trying to prove himself. I don't think he's trying to prove himself at all. Roman trusts him more than anyone else. After he turned up a Clash of the Castle, he became the one that's never in question. Never in question. Christoph says, what was the first match you remember that really made you a wrestling fan? For me, Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam 91, the day Bret became my childhood hero. I can give you the exact match. It was SummerSlam 98. It was Triple H versus The Rock in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. That was it for me. I was hooked after that. And it wasn't even The Rock. The Rock for me, he never really was my guy. Triple H was my guy. Triple H. Sean says, is there a Fastlane pay-per-view this year or is it straight to Mania after Elimination Chamber? To my knowledge, this year, it is straight from Elimination Chamber to WrestleMania. So they'll have maybe 6 weeks in order to build WrestleMania, which is a good thing if you ask me. A bit more time for everything to breathe and everything to build. That suits me perfectly. True, Leuven's, but I still think it's a fitting example. Sean says, mine was Diesel versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 12. See, I loved WrestleMania 12. I love the fact that Diesel hit that jackknife powerbomb pretty much immediately, and the crowd was stunned by it. They expected The Undertaker to be done after that. That's not what happened. Also, to be fair, it had the Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels Iron Man. What happened there? We seem to be having a few issues with our connection. I do apologise. Hopefully everything is still working well. Traffic throwing the F's in the chat. Hopefully we're all good. Hopefully it hasn't kicked too many people out of the stream there with that brief interlude. I do apologise. We seem to be having a few little technical issues that are causing us some drama. Thanks for letting me know, Joey and Traffic. Thank you kindly. We are slowly getting there with the technical issues. Yes, Christoph. If this wasn't YouTube, my internet flipped. Okay, they with the Viking Raiders making their entrance, they do the Valhalla is here. And that's great and all, but what's Valhalla actually done? It's like Valhalla is over there. It's not the same thing. I will say a quick thank you to Ricky Chicken Nugget, who subscribed during my technical issues, so I doubly appreciate that. Thank you kindly, Ricky, for joining the channel. You'll get a notification every time we go live with our spoiler warning news shows on Mondays and Fridays, or our SmackDown watch parties. We will, of course, be live for Elimination Chamber, and I don't think there's any question. We'll be live for WrestleMania 4 nights in a row. We will be live for SmackDown, Night 1 of WrestleMania, Night 2 of WrestleMania, and then the following night's Raw. So it's going to be a bit of a hectic one come WrestleMania. Bit of a hectic one. Joey says, the Mania bills under Vince were the worst. They wouldn't announce matches until like 2 weeks before the show. To be fair, Joey, every single WrestleMania so far has been a Mania build under Vince. So I'm not sure what you've got to compare it to. Harry says, the match that made me a wrestling fan was Undertaker versus HBK, WrestleMania 25. I'd imagine, Harry, I'm a little bit older than you. Grey hair and all. Grey hair? That side's better. Leuven says, you know he's trying to prove himself. He doesn't talk. He always follows directions. He's also the only one that hasn't won a main roster title. What do you think he's thinking about? Spiking Roman? For me, Solo is the Batista of the group. Jace, how you doing, mate? There's tech problems. That's what you get for using a young startup company like YouTube. a young startup company. She wants to say, Tom, how many WWE shows have you been to and which ones? So actual WWE shows, because I live in the UK, they're a bit harder to get to. And I haven't been able to really travel much to the US. I was in Florida for 2 weeks, but that's kind of it. Which leaves very few options. So I've been to every NXT UK takeover, 2 NXT UK tapings, and I've been to a dual Raw and SmackDown taping in Manchester, in which I interviewed Cesaro, Triple H, Nikki Cross, and Cedric Alexander. Good times, good times. Christoph says, agree with you, Tom. I like Sarah Logan, but really not into this gimmick so far. They haven't established who she is, why she's there, or what she does. If you're not going to establish your character, why have her there in the first place? Gotcha, Joey. And yeah, my sleep schedule's going to be crap. I might just book some time off, to be fair. John says, I like that. Solo is the Batista of the group. That's how I see it, personally. Roman is obviously the Triple H of it all, and I don't think that's really a surprise to anyone. Roman screams Triple H at times. The Viking Raiders selling more than they have over the last few months. Fight Night celebrating Sheamus and McIntyre here. I like this. It's a good way to build the Raiders, but also a good opportunity to make sure Butch and Holland make it on TV. Sheamus teaming with Drew McIntyre has really demoted both of these men, and they are not getting a lot of attention anymore. I'm glad they were at least visible during the Rumble, even if they didn't actually feature in it. Pete Dunne is being transfixed by Valhalla. Don't know why she's involved in that. Joey says, I wonder how they're going to do the NXT EU shows. Are they going to be taping shows in different countries? Yes and no. So it's NXT Europe, and one of the main reasons they made that change was, and you may not forgive me for this one, Brexit. They need freedom of movement, so they need to set up something in Europe so they can travel from country to country. Bringing in wrestlers who can then go home afterwards. They can do tapings like 2 weeks at a time, and then they can go home. So freedom of movement is very important to NXT's European endeavours. Hence why they've shut down the UK. Jason says, I was under the impression Hurt Business was coming back. Am I mistaken? You are not mistaken. They are coming back. They are not back yet. There's a few hoops still to jump through, but we did see some more progress on that on Monday Night Raw after all. Every little step they take gets them a little closer. And Austin Theory is kind of the perfect foil for that, to really develop what they're trying to do. What can I say? Austin Theory's hateable. And that's what they're looking for more than anything else. Someone who's hateable. That's a nice drink. There's a Chill dude here. Chill says Sami should show up in a Chinese balloon. I've seen the phrase Chinese balloon a lot recently. I don't know what it means. Joey says, when do you think they will start signing talent for NXT EU? Very, very soon. There is talent that they're planning to move into that region who aren't there already. William Regal will be overseeing that. He's only just obviously started the job, so it'll take a little time. John says, I'd like to see Chase U win the NXT tag team titles. That's certainly an opportunity for them. New Day, I feel, will be... I don't know if they'll be making WrestleMania. I think they might be in the pre-show Battle Royals at this point, personally. Leuven says, Grayson more than Austin. Theory does have that look, though. So, every year I watch the Royal Rumble with my family. They don't watch anything else. They just watch the Royal Rumble. And they keep hoping that something in the Royal Rumble will bring them in to wrestling. But so far, not so much. So, my sister has watched a lot of wrestling. She reads it extremely well. So she saw Austin Theory and immediately described him perfectly fitting the character of Austin Theory. Because he looks exactly as you'd expect from... Well, I'm going to use the phrase F-boy. And I think you know what I mean. We have just hit a peak of 72 viewers. Our peak so far. We have 40 likes, so please remember you can hit thumbs up when you drop in, and I would very much appreciate if you do. It would basically guarantee the growth of this channel, increasing views, increasing subscribers. It really does make a big difference, so please do consider it. I won't do that too much. I tend to do it once every half hour or so. Just to remind people. Just to remind people. They're talking NXT Judgment Day. Hyping up the Tag Team Championship triple threat. Oh, sorry, Fatal 4-Way. I forgot a team. I always forget about Gallus. Oh, they're in for that. Oh, I see. Jason says the Chinese balloon that is currently spying on the US. It's over Montana right now. US are aware and China admitted it. Right. Okay. At least they haven't hidden it. It's not good news, is it? What is there to spy on? You're a balloon. Are you just listening into things? I am confused. The tag match is continuing. Butch diving over, I want to say Ivar? Nope, Eric. Diving over Eric. I'm not sure what other matches are actually planned tonight. I've already had the final of the tag team match. I don't know if there's any more singles matches, but I'd expect there to be at least one more match. At least one. Oh, right. The women's fatal 4-way Elimination Chamber qualifying match. That's the last match that I'm thinking of. So that will be our main event match, leading into the Roman Reigns finale. So 10-15 minutes of a women's fatal 4-way. I can get behind that. Over Latin America now too. Nuclear silos, gotcha. Jill says supposedly China has a new way to spy on you through a floating giant hot air balloon, so if you see one in the UK, run. To be fair, mate, I've got TikTok on my phone. China are already spying on me. They already have all my details. Joey says the balloon should go spy on Vince. Holland with the Alabama Slam, and the fans are really behind it. Holland and Butch have really started to get support from the crowd recently. We haven't seen Karrion Kross so far tonight. That surprised me. No sign of Liv Morgan. Lacey Evans, I'd imagine we're going to get a vignette after this match. Or after the last match, but I think we'll get a vignette. We seem to be heading to the finish, but I can't imagine a world in which the Viking Raiders lose this. Very much seems like the focus is going to be Banger Bros versus Viking Raiders. So, Banger Vikings? Viking Bangers. Okay. Okay. I can see it. I can see it. I don't want to see it. But I can see it. Just so everyone knows, I don't want to, but I can. But I can. Harry says, did Rey Mysterio show up yet? Yes, that was about 40 minutes in. We saw a recording of Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. Leuven says, I hope Sarah Logan doesn't get paid for this. She does. She's appearing on TV. They're using her likeness, so they're paying her for it. Butch with the top rope Hurricane Rana on Ivar. This is a great match so far. Really high tempo. The crowd are very much into it. Certainly looking like match of the night so far. Dominic, how you doing, mate? Says, hi, Tom. I remember as a kid before my son was born, Kerry Von Erich versus Mr. Perfect for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm old. We love your show. Thank you. Appreciate that, Dominic. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, my first match was a little bit after that. But certainly old by a lot of the standards of who's in the room at the moment. Who's in this chat. Leuven says she's incredibly boring, has nothing of the Raiders, but a cool mascot. Yeah, she's not really made them tougher. She's not really made them any more new and vicious. I don't know. She's just sort of there. Ivar taking out Ridge Holland. The end is near. The end is very much near. Joey says, are we going to get an Uncle Howdy video? I was told we'd see something from Bray Wyatt to sort of celebrate what happened during the Royal Rumble. The Viking Raiders have picked up the win with a Rhea Ripley style sexual pin. Gotta respect it, gotta respect it. Valhalla got in the ring way too early. She's wearing contact lenses now, which... Why? Very confusing. Mr. Stumble says, Sami Zayn / Jey Uso versus Johnny Knoxville solo Sokoa would be a great match. You say that. Probably mocking it, but at the same time, Johnny Knoxville did great work in that WrestleMania match. He really did. Traffic says, did anyone here watch that show Vikings about Ragnar and stuff? Man, was an amazing series. I liked it more than Game of Thrones. Is that the one that featured Edge? The Viking Raiders are at the top of the ring. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre are heading down. And we have a war. Sheamus fell along the way. Awkward. Just awkward. Going straight into the crowd for McIntyre. This is just full-on scrapping. Eric just got thrown into someone. Ivar's getting thrown into the walls. Back to Gorilla with him. Oh no, McIntyre don't want to go back to Gorilla just yet. I think he was going for a Claymore there, McIntyre, but his genes wouldn't allow it. His genes would not allow it. Christoph says, Liv cracked me up last night asking, can someone teach me how Twitter Spaces works? Imagine if she popped up on my next one. She wants to host. She wants to host. I'd love it if she popped into one of these streams one day. It's not going to happen, though. Leuven says, War Machine was better. Ah, thank you, Traffic. Jill says, anyone their grandmother saw us coming, given the way the camera angle switched. And Joey quite rightly saying about the genes, they might rip if he does. You got to be careful. You don't want to let your McIntyres hang low. You don't want to do it. Here we go. We're talking pitch black match, which means we got a Bray Wyatt coming. At least something. Sean says, with the Chamber qualifiers, it seems like Alexa won't be in it. She's probably out of the title picture now. She is, to my knowledge, Alexa Bliss is thoroughly out of the title picture and will not be returning for a little while. So we are seeing a recap of the pitch black match. This new version of Bray Wyatt. We have this, the Fatal 4-Way, something from Lacey Evans, I'm sure, and then our main event. Good stuff coming. Good stuff coming. Harry says maybe Sheamus and Drew win the Tag Team Championship soon. I don't necessarily think they will. I think this will be an after the draft situation. LA Knight may be the first member of the Wyatt Six. We are backstage with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy. Who, as it turns out, were friends all along. Stunning. That's all we got. A couple of seconds. And people are going to be examining that time and time again. Time and time again. Sorry guys, we are having a few technical issues. I'm not getting a lead as to why they're happening. This is one of the reasons I'm starting to think StreamYard might be the better option again. Just going back to that. After all, my taxes are due and I can write it off as an expense because it is. You don't get much more obvious an expense than that. Joey says the Lights Out match felt so rushed. It did, didn't it? It is like they fell behind during the Rumbles. And everything else is just sort of squashed in. It did sort of go over by like an hour and a half, so. Jill says the mask reminds me of the 2002 Kane mask. Personally, as I say, I don't know how much of it you actually saw there. Personally, I think the new mask was a little bit boorish, and boorish as in a pig. LA Knight has been referred to as Little Pig by Uncle Howdy, suggesting to me that LA Knight may be the first member of the Wyatt Six. That's what I see potentially happening next. Traffic says back to 2 months before the Bray story progresses anymore. That's correct. That's what we're looking at. That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be fun, but that's what it's going to be. It's true, Joey, and that's certainly something I'm going to be considering. I'll be speaking to my provider about it at some point this month. Just in case, because I've tried everything else. So it does seem to suggest that the internet may be the issue. Loven says, bro, when will Bray reveal him? I don't think so. I don't necessarily think Bray will reveal him. I think he'll reveal himself. Loven suggests the pig is Gacy. Sean says the OC and Solo, the OC versus Solo and Jimmy, and LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt are the two dark matches after the show, according to the rundown for the show. Okay. The OC is interesting. Doesn't seem to... Where I'll get this working eventually. It's the tiniest momentary blips. The video is not interlaced. The video is absolutely not interlaced. The video is not interlaced in any way, shape or form. Why am I being accused of interlacing? Literally nothing. None of it interlaced. No problems. It's making up problems now. Getting warnings from YouTube. So my stream health section does not read particularly well at the moment. We had error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Stream is healthy. YouTube is not receiving enough data for this stream. If you believe this is incorrect, ensure that you're sending a stream that is configured with the correct stream key. Stream is healthy. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Stream is healthy. YouTube is not currently receiving data for the stream. The current video is interlaced. Stream is healthy. Not receiving enough data. The current video is interlaced. It's baffling. It is baffling what's happening. I don't understand any of this at this point. It shouldn't be this difficult to have a stream. We just had a 5-hour Royal Rumble stream and not a single problem with it. Don't understand. Anyway, Joey says LA Knight is rambling rabbit, I think, since he's a big talker. There's some logic to it. Sean thinks the buzzard is Grayson Waller and the rabbit he's not sure. What does everyone else think? What does everyone else think of the Wyatt Six? I think at this point everyone's assuming that Abby the Witch is going to be Alexa Bliss. Joey says, very strange. It seems like it only goes out during watch-alongs. Yeah, but then the watch-along for the Royal Rumble was fine. The watch-along for Raw was fine. Jill says, Kevin Dunn cuts away. Just we won't get the romantic kiss. I've had that one already. Stream is healthy. Let's see how long that lasts. Sean says, I'm going to take a guess and Cora is Abby the Witch. Interesting. No data. Says no data, so apparently you're not seeing a stream, but there's no issue on Twitch. I'm baffled by this. I don't... Like, how do I fix the problem if I don't know what the problem is? True, Joey. True. Thankfully, there's only half hour left and we're doing what we can. Chili's blaming the Chinese balloon. Shayna Baszler got the Jobber's entrance. Jobber's entrance for Shayna Baszler. So the Elimination Chamber will be Raquel, Asuka, Liv Morgan and Nikki Cross. 1 woman from this, and there is another qualifier on Monday Night Raw upcoming. Harry thinks the rabbit is Uncle Howdy. Sean says, do you think Carmella wins on Raw Monday? I certainly think she's the strongest contender. Suits me and my intentions perfectly, that. I don't think she's actually going to win the match. I think it's Asuka's match to lose, but certainly I think she should be in the match. Joey says it seems like Bray doesn't even know where the storyline is going. They're just coming up with things as the week goes on. There's been a constant evolution when it comes to the story. I was speaking about this earlier on Spoiler Warning. There's been a constant evolution of it. Bray's intentions are very, very clear, but he is being constantly drawn into line, shall we say. The reins are being tugged every now and then, just as a reminder that, hey, you know that thing you want to do? Not that time. Not that one. No, over here, focus, etc. Hello, Salvador, how are you? Zelina Vega just whacking Natalya in the back of the head. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are chatting backstage and watching on screen. I did not realise how many Elimination Chambers Liv Morgan's been in. Of course, she was undoubtedly one of the people destroyed by Shayna Baszler way back when. That's Zelina Vega's finisher. There we go. The code red is how Zelina Vega finishes people off, so this match is probably not going to be very long. Jill says, did you hear Wade Barrett mention Zelina in her lingerie calling it a choice? No, I did not. And to be fair, it's up to her what wrestling gear she wears, so. Joey says, I feel like it'll be a big letdown if this all leads to Bray versus Uncle Howdy. It'll be even more of a letdown if it all leads to Bray Wyatt versus Uncle Howdy, and it's a, what is it, Cinnamon Crunch? Cinnamon Crunch match? Big bowl of milk? Christoph says, I know Bray is all about slow build, but this is very slow there. It is. He's very much about slow build. He's very much about long-term booking, but there is such a thing as too much long-term. Harry says, maybe something happened to Bray at Elimination Chamber. I find it unlikely, personally. They've made a point of keeping him as involved as possible, but ultimately Bray Wyatt has not been... He's not been setting the world on fire. Jill says Wade had his Corey Graves Carmella moment. Interesting way of putting that. Very interesting way of putting that. Apologies, guys. We've just hit 2,500 views on this here watch party. Thank you very much, everyone, for giving us a chance, dropping in, saying hi, etc. Even if you just dropped in and lurked, I appreciate that. Thank you. We regularly get more views than we have subscribers on these shows now, which tells me that they have some serious growth potential, and I'm very grateful to everyone who drops in, says hi, hits like, subscribes, even just chats, all that jazz. Even just chats, because that guarantees more viewership as well. Even if you're just chatting, even if you break down one sentence into 4 different bits, it's flying. It's flying, and you guys are making that happen for me. Thank you. Sean says, I saw a photo saying Becky versus Bayley is in a custody of Seth Rollins ladder match. I don't think Bayley gets to make that call, tell you that. Jill says, Uncle Howdy jumping into a pile of Cinnamon Toast Crunch at WrestleMania and missing. That would make me laugh. Harry says, do you think when Pat McAfee returns full-time, Wade might wrestle again? No. I think we're more likely on a Pat McAfee return that Pat McAfee wrestles and Wade stays on commentary. But Wade Barrett is very unlikely to wrestle again in the WWE. In general, I think we will see him wrestle again, but not in the WWE. We have also reached 53 likes so far, which is absolutely lovely. Thanks, guys. There is 25 minutes or so left of WWE SmackDown. We have our fatal 4-way currently going. Shotzi versus Natalya versus Zelina Vega versus Shayna Baszler to determine the last competitor in the Elimination Chamber. Could well still be Shayna Baszler. I don't think what we're going to see yet is the build to Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey for the Tag Team Championships, so Shayna Baszler's involvement could be very beneficial. However, there's certainly a number of different contenders. I don't see Natalya involved in the Elimination Chamber, though they don't really have too many ring generals at the moment. They do have Asuka, so it'll all work out. Someone, I think it's Zelina Vega, is huddled in the corner, very hurt at this point. Jill says, I wish WWE would swerve fans with different people as Howdy. R-Truth takes the mask off, hiding from someone saying, my bad. I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't say that. Thank you, Salvador. Joey says they're going to fight over a box of cereal. Probably. And then at the end, they're going to really celebrate it in the Cody Rhodes style. Blue says, do you think there will be another major gimmick match outside of Hell in a Cell and whatever the Cinnamon Toast Crunch match is? Yes, I do, though I'm not entirely sure what we're likely to see. There's a lot of options. I feel in a couple of these, things are just going to get too intense. So we're going to have to get a little worse, you know? We're going to have to go a little bit more hardcore. We're going to have to try and find something. So why not? They can't all just be standard one-on-one matches. You have to do something with it. Christoph says, how about Seth be drafted to SmackDown and be the one to beat Roman for the Universal title after Mania? It's a possibility, certainly. I don't see Seth moving personally. Though that said, I do see him very much being kept apart from Cody. So maybe there's logic to it. Personally, I think Judgment Day coming to SmackDown, I'm looking at the Hurt Business. I'd like it if Hurt Business came to SmackDown. And at that point, I'd start making some trades. People like Drew McIntyre to Raw, Sheamus maybe, and go from there. Joey says, imagine if it's Vince under the mask. I don't want to. I really don't want to. That just does not sound like fun for me. The higher power of Bray Wyatt. Jill says, Cody Rhodes at the press conference eating cereal after winning titles. Again, not an impossibility. Man's a company man. It is Natalya in the end. I guess they did need a ring general after all. Traffy says, nice surprise. Sean says, makes sense. Natalya wins. Chamber is in Canada. Absolutely right. This was mentioned in spoiler warning earlier, and it was one of those moments where I just went, oh, of course that's going to happen. And turns out that's what's happening. Looking at who's in the match, it is Raquel, it is Asuka, it is Liv Morgan, it is Nikki Cross. They did need a ring general to be involved in it, especially if Carmella is our final competitor. She's not really considered a ring general either. So the options for the final four are Candice LeRae, Michin, Carmella, or Piper Niven. Yeah, they needed Natalya. They did. Christoph says, could be wrong, but I guess Roman will stay Universal Champ until he passed through the 1,000 days. I don't think so. I think Cody's taking them both. Paul Heyman speaking of Roman Reigns. Jimmy and Solo have not found Jey. I do like all their unnecessary bottles of water. They're healthy at least. Roman's still not happy. I don't know if we'll see Jey tonight, but I do think we'll see him next week. But I do think we'll see Sami. Still plenty of time. Roman talking about how stressed he is. I don't think Jimmy's going to be that supportive of him, to be honest. Roman still hasn't really thought about Sami. Apologizes to Jimmy. Okay. He's starting to act like a decent leader. He's learning through this. That opens up so many doors. I don't know if Jimmy will stick by him. Given the choice between backing Roman or backing Jey, I'm not sure where Jimmy would go with it. Roman has dismissed Jimmy and Solo. That creates a massive opportunity. Oh, okay, I stand corrected. He has dismissed Jimmy. No, I was right the first time. He has dismissed both Jimmy and Solo, which creates a massive opportunity for Sami Zayn to get a few hits in. Maybe even Kevin Owens. Sean says, I'm still thinking Carmella wins on Raw, but I'd be fine with Candice winning. I think Piper Niven should be considered in another shout as well, to be fair. She needs the opportunity to really show who her new character is. Jill says, I'm guessing Solo replaces Jey next week. If he does, I'd imagine Jey will find a way to get involved. Joey says, are we going to see Sami tonight? I believe we will. Sean says, SK is saying Sami versus Roman is happening at Chamber. I'm also saying Sami versus Roman is happening at Chamber, and I think the setup will be starting right when we get back from commercial. Harry says, maybe Jey turns face to team with Sami to attack Roman Reigns. I don't think it's impossible, but I also don't necessarily think that they're friends. Let's not forget, Sami betrayed Jey as well. He attacked Roman, but he betrayed Jey. This is a really in-depth story where a lot of people have been wronged in one action. Jill says, Roman sent them away. Surely that won't cost him. Oh, absolutely it's going to cost him. Ego. Overconfidence. Traffic says, does Heyman start to question Jey's loyalty now like he did Sami? Possibly, yes. And to be honest, so he should. Definitely question the loyalty. Definitely question everything. Never trust anyone. Someone's... I can't remember who it was, but someone, some way, said a really profound thing. I think it was, don't trust any people. No, that's not it. Don't trust any things? That's not it either. Don't trust any what? That's it. Nailed it. Nailed it, guys. Nailed it. Jill says WWE could go the route that Jey went back to the island and got advice on someone, and turns out it was Rock. You may need to let go of the whole Rock thing. You might need to let go of the whole Rock thing. Christoph says, my pick for Monday is either Piper or Mitchin. Hope it's Piper. She's so nice and humble on Twitter, a very golden person. I've met her a couple of times. She's just genuinely a lovely person. I was commenting on the Starbug pin she keeps on her leather jacket. If you're a Red Dwarf fan, you get it. Jason says, DTA, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Absolutely. Don't trust any what? Sean says, won't be seeing Lacey tonight. She said she ditched SmackDown to motivate her daughter at her gymnastics meet. Oh, okay. Okay. Surprised they couldn't just film like 15 vignettes and then spray some out, but alright. Jill says, Asuka going Shayna style in the chamber, please. That's kind of what I expect. They need to establish that this Asuka is a cut above what she was. They need to firmly establish that. So personally, I'd be having to go through everyone. Everyone. So we're going to our... Wait, I don't think this is actually going to be our final segment. I think we'll get the Roman entrance. He'll say some things. And then we'll get another commercial break. Another NASCAR commercial. Ah, they really do shove that fox down the face. Next week it is a tag team championship. Jimmy and Jey Uso versus Braun Strowman and Ricochet. And you've got to say the Usos do not have their eye on the ball for this one. Jill says amazing angle incoming. Harry says maybe Candice wins on Raw because she didn't get a title shot yet. Okay, so next week Rey Mysterio faces Madcap Moss faces Karrion Kross versus Santos Escobar for an opportunity against Gunter for the Intercontinental Championship. I'd probably go Santos for this one. Makes sense for me. Chill dude, the four-way happened. Natalya won. Natalya won. Jason says it's nice that Lacey has taken some time off. Lord knows she's worked a full schedule this last year. Oh wait. Yeah. I don't know what's been happening with Lacey Evans, but they keep having to restart. They really do. Welcome to the show, Acronym Pasta. Interesting. I'm surprised they didn't go acronym Stapper. Now we have to work out what it actually means, because it turns out it means pasta. I mean, your name's acronym. Rocket. Rocket, man. Rocket. Or not. Don't know if you're a man or not. But rocket regardless. Jill says, I think Madcap wins. I saw the IC title 4-way contenders match was scheduled tonight. I did not see that. Was that social media that announced it? I'm not sure on it. Harry says, I think Rey Mysterio might win. I definitely don't think Gunter's losing. I think it's just the fairly standard thing of making sure that he's a fighting champion. Traffic says maybe Lacey is just getting a character revamp. I mean, she did keep the same character for a whole 2 weeks, right? Yeah, far too long for Lacey. Far too long. Lacey Evans plays the same character for more than 2 weeks. She starts to get antsy. She needs a revamp. She needs a rebrand. She needs to recreate. She needs a restart. Sean says, how many more repackages does Lacey get before they say enough of is enough? They're not going to say enough is it. You know they're not going to say enough is enough. You know that. Jill says, Rey versus Gunter at Chamber. Dominic costs Rey and sets up Mania. Ooh. There's potential there, Jill. Absolutely there is. Bear with me one sec. Roman walks down with no backup. No backup at all. Could it be a sign of things to come? That's what they're saying with Cody Rhodes. I said at the beginning. Traffic says Lacey will just finish being with Bray and they'll claim she had split personalities. Boom, explains everything. There's your answer. There's your answer. Thank you, Harry. Not sure why it's frozen. Nothing else is suggesting a freeze, so I'm not sure if that's our end or if I just haven't spotted it yet and it'll actually kick in about a minute. Jill says, oh my god, Wade took a toilet paper shot at Hogan. He did. Just a nice bit of anger in Wade's voice there. It has taken us 6 minutes for Roman to make it. There it is. There's the connection issue. It has taken us 6 minutes for Roman to reach the ring. It shouldn't do. That shouldn't be what we have to live through. But here we are. Michael Cole literally arguing with Wade Barrett at this point. Some tension down there. Some absolute tension. Roman is in the ring. Paul Heyman has a microphone. A lot of people we could expect. Sami Zayn has a sign in the crowd. Will we see Sami? Will we see Kevin Owens? Will we see Jey Uso? The crowd are chanting for Sami. They've made their feelings known. Surprised they're not swearing at Roman already. Naturally, he'll start by requesting the acknowledgement. I don't know if he'll get it this time. Oh, that is heat. That is Tommaso Ciampa heat in the feud with Johnny Gargano. That's good. Oh, you can tell he's proud. Blue says, just wanted to say I love your streams. On the west coast of the US, and though SmackDown is not on for another hour, I really enjoy listening to you and the chat watch. Thank you, Blue. Very much appreciate that. It's very nice to say. Thank you. Jason says 2K23 has added the ability to come to the ring with 2 belts. It's like they watched the show. The fans want to chant Sami. Roman name drops Cody. Not the warmest reaction from the crowd. Very loud Sami Zayn chant. Double duty might actually be in his future. Harry says, do you think Jerry Lawler will be on the pre-show Elimination Chamber? Probably yes, unfortunately. I don't want it, but I've got to admit it's probably going to happen. We are going to get story time with Roman Reigns. Christoph says, thank God Roman isn't coming to the ring on a throne? I don't know what a throne is, mate. Sean says, I'll probably take Roman 5 hours to get to the ring at WrestleMania. Oh, they are watting Roman. They are watting Roman Reigns. Thank you, Harry. I appreciate you letting me know. I'm definitely having some problems with the stream today. I've got to try and work out what's going on with this. Or just, as I say, go back to the StreamYard. Roman is not a happy man. Not a happy man at all. Throne. Okay, gotcha. Roman is probably not going to apologise for this outburst. Jill is hoping for Sami's old theme. Well, certainly he ain't a heel no more, and it's been a while. Not since the hell... There he is. It is indeed Sami Zayn who's popped up, going on the attack. wearing his new Sami Zayn shirt. Paul Heyman fled the scene. Oh, Sami's just going for it. Sami's just going for it. This is definitely going to be the match. Jill Dude's hoping for KO. Roman has taken control. Shouldn't have been surprised by this. He wants a chair. He's looking to do damage. This may cost him. Where's Kevin Owens when you need him? Kevin Owens took a firm beating at the Royal Rumble. He might not be there. Sami Zayn with a spear. Did not expect that one. Did not expect that one. Chill, dude. I'm with you. Traffic says Paul ran for the chair like there was ex-ECW wrestlers coming for their due pay. Harry's hoping Jey Uso comes out. I don't think this is Jey Uso's week. I think this is Sami Zayn's week. Roman is fleeing. He is running away. But there is still plenty of time before the show is over. Sami's got a microphone. He's got something to say. He's called out Roman for the championships. The crowd are going wild. Jimmy and Solo have arrived. It was only ever going to be a matter of time. They are not happy with Sami. Roman now walking back towards the ring. I think Sami might be in trouble here. This makes it more likely that Roman's going to accept the match, to be fair. Roman doesn't like to accept matches from people who could actually be a threat to him. So if Sami's hurt and laying on the floor, he'll accept the match. Roman's back in the ring. Sean says maybe Roman faces Sami and Cody at Mania. It's still possible, I feel, that there could be a double duty here. But if we get the match one-on-one at Elimination Chamber, we are not getting the match one-on-one at WrestleMania. The WWE, up until now at least, are only interested in Cody Rhodes. They want the tag title match for Sami Zayn. And honestly, I still think that's the one. The crowd are chanting, "We want Jey." Roman using it to ad-lib. Roman blaming Sami for the end of the bloodline. Everyone is facing one way. Roman is giving him the match. What did I say? As soon as Sami was on the ground, Roman was much more likely to accept the match. Elimination Chamber will be Roman Reigns defending both championships against Sami Zayn. And at the end of that match, Roman will have moved on to Cody Rhodes. No Jey Uso, no Kevin Owens. The show ends with Sami on the ground, but the match is on. He might not look it, But Sami got what he wanted there. That was a good SmackDown. High quality wrestling. A few people you wouldn't necessarily expect to be in the limelight getting a good opportunity, thinking mainly the Viking Raiders versus Brawling Brutes match, which was genuinely quite a lot of fun and kind of match of the night for me at least. The Roman angle, beautiful, everything we were expecting. I didn't hate the Rey and Dominic section. I expected to, but I didn't. So I'm okay with it. Ultimately, I still don't think this is the best SmackDown I've ever seen in my life, but it was a hell of a good one. And we really do know what's next for WrestleMania. We really know at this point what's next for Elimination Chamber. Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns. And it's got a bit of a Brock Lesnar versus Eddie Guerrero vibe about it, hasn't it? I am going to wrap it up there. I doubt anyone's particularly surprised by this. It is a long night. I do apologise for all of the technical issues that we've had, but I do want to thank you all for sticking with me through them. We have gone from again, I'm not used to 2000. We've gone from 2098 up to 2116 tonight. If you haven't done so, please consider subscribing. We do SmackDown watch parties every single week, and they won't always be the technical issues that basically plagued this one and meant we got a lot less views than we would have done based on that. Until then, though, I want to say a massive thanks to all of you. Hope everyone has a great weekend. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.